Hello, welcome to the Freedom from Anger podcast. I am James. I'm here with Mr. Jonathan, and we're going to talk about some topics, including anger and stress and the holidays. So, we're going to just talk about some of the things that we've learned through our experiences, and we're going to throw out questions back and forth. And first question is: holidays, Christmas, stress, anger. Does that happen?
Uh, how you deal with it, I guess. It's definitely pretty common for a lot of people. Let's be honest, not everybody gets along so great with all of their family members, depending on how many you have to spend the holidays with. I guess the first thing I was thinking about when you were saying that is we always have the choice of what topic we choose to talk about during the holidays. So if there's somebody in the family we disagree on some of those touchy topics, we don't necessarily have to discuss those. So I guess one way to prevent problems would be don't talk about politics and things like that, where people can get pretty polarized. I think one way to keep from having stress and anger is prevent it as much as possible. So I think we all can choose which topics we're going to engage in conversations about. But I think that would be step one if I was trying to reduce stress and anger during the holidays.
So you're saying engage. So let's say I have a drunk Uncle Bill and he's,
Some people, and a lot of people will have one too.
yeah, let's say I have those in my family and they cannot help themselves from spouting things that I might not agree with. How do I deal with that?
This is so much easier said than done, but my first thought is just don't take the bait because you don't have to go down that road. He's going to find somebody to argue with. It doesn't have to be me or you. If he's looking for somebody to argue with, somebody will engage him, but each of us can make the choice whether it's going to be us or not.
Okay, so you're saying take the high road.
Yeah, let somebody else be the one to engage and go down that road. You don't really have to, because if you're, it's the old thing about you can't argue. You can argue with him, you can't reason with a drunk, so it's not going to end well.
I would totally agree. But yeah, it's like what you touched on is we don't realize how much control we have over the situation. Yeah, like being around family members we haven't been around with a lot is very stressful, and everybody has their opinions and different views on things. So we have to try our best to be the best version of ourselves, a lack of a better word, but know that I can choose to act or I can choose not to interact.
I mean, that's correct. And what you're saying, I think it touches on something else. As you said, be the best version of yourself. Along the same lines, is focus on the things that you like about your relatives and your family members and the things that you have in common. And hopefully, you care some for each other if you're in the same family. So focus on that. What the things that bring you together, the things that you share in common. Because like we've said, that's a choice. But what we choose to focus on really is a choice. So focus on the things that are going to bring us together, not the things that are going to tear us apart. Because the time we spend together at the holidays, it's not like this long, protracted amount of time that we have to avoid the subjects that might cause problems. It's a brief time we're going to be spending together. So focus on the things that are going to bring us together and be peaceful and let the other stuff go.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. But I feel that for a lot of us, if we're not, say, very close to our family members, we try to bring up topics and we're trying to fill up space and we're trying to find something to talk about. And there's that at one point we're going to say something and then it's going to go off the rails. So how do we like bring it back to, oh, wait a minute? That's
Yeah. Well, the question is getting a little tougher. That one, because I'm trying to think, there are times when I'm in that situation on the holidays because I don't come from a big family, but mm, some family members and I don't have a whole lot of things in common. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm in a room and somebody's bringing up something like that, unless they're talking to me specifically, sometimes I'll just let somebody else have that conversation. If they're talking to you specifically, I just try to find some common ground or something that I can comment on, but keep it brief and as friendly as I can. I mean, I always tell myself, you know what, obviously it's a topic that's important to them or they wouldn't have brought it up. If I have to, I engage and I'm friendly. But if it's something I really don't know about or don't feel strongly about, or if I feel too strongly and feel like I'll say something that might offend them, a lot of times I'll be present and just let somebody else have the conversation and keep my opinion to myself.
Yeah, because a lot of times people are just want to be heard. They want to get their 2 cents in, so just allow them to have that time and just be present, like you said.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I don't think this is, I don't know, it's not necessarily any easier for us, but if it is, it's probably because we have so much training and we've been doing this for so long, we realize, you know what, I think a lot of times we realize it's more of a choice than maybe a lot of people do until they practice it. And then they'll realize that, you know what, I really don't have to respond just because I have an opinion that's different or because that person is trying to get a certain response. I have the power and the ability to not go down the road that it looks like they're wanting me to go down. And once you've practiced not saying the first thing that comes to your mind for a while, it gets easier over time.
Yes, and like you said, like with our training, odd bunch compared to most people. And when we don't respond and don't react instantly, we process things that are going on around us. Outside looking in, and like, hey, something's wrong with this person. I'm saying this, they're not responding, and I'm not getting what I want. Maybe they're trying to get under your skin. Maybe they're trying to elicit a response. And when you don't, it throws off the conversation. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it is because they've probably played in their head. Sometimes they've played it out what they think your response is going to be, and they've got their next one ready based on that. So when you don't give them that response, it throws them off, like you said, in a good way.
Yeah, I totally agree. So it's definitely some good tips. Just it's going to be uncomfortable, whether it's family or somebody on the street, or a lot of people have strong opinions, and they're going to let them know those opinions and how you.
Yeah, and I would say just to sum it up another way is just remember what the holidays are supposed to be and focus on that. So stay, like we've said, basically just don't engage on topics that are going to what topics, or if it's a person you've spent time with and had issues previous holidays, the things that would spark a disagreement are probably the same things that would have done so in the past. So try to avoid those as much as possible.
Just to know the fact that no matter what you say or do, you're not going to change their opinion.
They're still trying to change yours.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the great thing about families. We're all different and nobody agrees on it.
Nope.
But you get into politics and everything else, it's craziness.
Yeah.
But like you said, like being close together and being around each other, the way I view it is like, hey, I'm here. That's saying a lot. Just hey, it's the little things in life, right?
That's right. No, I'm not here, but if an hour later I'm still here, that means we must be doing okay sometime.
Yeah. Because for me personally, like my family, I don't agree with probably 90% of what they do and how they do things. But hey, if I'm there, hey, I'm making the effort. I know I'm not going to agree with you on everything, but hey, I'm here for a purpose. And like you said, holidays, it's about putting all those things aside and just trying to be family.
Yes, absolutely. And I look at it this way, holidays are a chance for us on a smaller scale to practice the very thing that we should be doing, I think, on a bigger scale as a society, is finding common ground and starting from there. Because once you probably find out, okay, there's at least some things that we agree upon. And if you can build and maintain relationships based on that, then you can approach the stuff that you don't agree on. But what's happening more and more these days is people are focusing only on the things that divide them, and just each side is yelling at the other about what they think they should believe. Nobody's trying to find any common ground. So okay, maybe the holidays is a good chance within the family to say, okay, let's focus on the things that we do share and the things that we do have in common, and then go from there.
Yeah, it's funny how everybody gets nice when December rolls around. It's like, well, there's 11 other months on the calendar.
Yeah. And one
uh,
month out of the year, we're going to be nice to each other.
yep, yep, that's the truth. But yeah, so I posted a thing on Twitter about your stress levels during the holidays, and I don't have a lot of followers or anything like that. I just posted it just for the heck, 'cause I'm not
Hmm.
active in the Twitter world. So I posted a thing that was like, okay, how do you feel your stress levels are? Like low, medium, high, or off the rails? And maybe I'll get some response from that. But I feel that most people in the holidays, they're probably high. If I was to guess, the stress levels and stress leads to anger and all the things that we try to work on.
I would say so. I would like I can guess what some of them are, but I think it would be interesting to have people like have a list of common stressors and have people rate which ones that they find most stressful during the holidays. Because I think, unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, buying of gifts creates a lot of stress. Like trying to find the perfect gift and stressing over what gift to get and how much money should I spend on this person and silly things like what if they spend more money on me. I think a lot of people who get caught up in the gift giving part of it, it becomes more about that kind of thing than actually the meaning behind it. So I think that creates some stress. And then I guess family gatherings and planning parties, and I'm sure there's all kinds of stressful things that go on. I tend to not have a lot of stress at holiday time because I kind of just go to my mom's house basically and hang out and be lazy. So I'm good. And other people come in. So, but then I'm a single person, so I'm sure that's part of it also. I have in-laws and two sides of the family and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
it would be for you to speak to that, of course. I don't know. You have more
yeah,
experience.
yeah. I've got in-laws and all that good stuff, but thankfully, none of my in-laws they don't do anything on the day of or the day before. It's always a week before or a week after or hey, let's do it on New Year's, and it's just so the holiday is actually wide open. I'm thankful for actually the weather just limits my movement. I can't travel too much because of the weather. So we're just doing a low key, just hanging out, just very simple holidays. Cannot complain.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, Christmas Eve is usually when my family, which is just it was just four of us in my immediate family, and because my dad's passed, so it's just usually me and my mom, my sister, my brother-in-law for the most part. But they're not going to make it today, so I think this is the first time in my 50 plus years that we haven't done our family get together and exchange gifts and things on Christmas Eve because of the weather. They just decided to wait and see if things were better tomorrow. So yeah, I'm very low key, and I'm all right with that's pretty much who I am now. I don't know if it's an age thing or if I just got all the other stuff out of my system when I was younger, but low key is okay with me now.
Yep.
My New Year's will be the same way, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. So you mentioned that your family comes together. I know every family is different. I know when I got married, I married into a whole new Christmas traditions and still trying to figure them out. What I had growing up, usually people show up early in the morning on Christmas Eve. We'd have breakfast and then lunch and then dinner and then like I said, they don't leave till probably midnight that night.
Hmm.
So you're just surrounded by family the entire time. I'm not sure if many people do that anymore. It seems to be a lot. But yeah, just being able to interact with your family is stressful. It can stem some a lot of anger about some certain things. You kind of get into the should haves kind of deal, and but like you said, we need to be focused on okay, what's the true meaning of Christmas kind of deal. Okay, we're coming together for a purpose. Don't get really focused on all these exterior things. It's about family coming together.
Yes, and that's one of those things too where do I think I'm so important that everybody needs to agree with my view on everything. So I think that's one way to put it in perspective. I'm like, what? Of course, we all think we're right. Our views of things are the way everybody else should think, but that's the same way they feel. Yeah, it's not realistic to think if somebody doesn't completely agree with me on certain topics, then we can't get along at all. And especially in a situation where it's family, I think it just takes a little bit of effort to find that common ground that you can use to keep things peaceful and calm during the holiday.
Yeah, just saying, hey, fair enough. Okay, agree to disagree. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to get into a yelling match about who's right and who's wrong. Just everybody's going to have their opinions, and odds are they're probably going to be different from yours. So you
That's
have to just
right.
kind of, okay, fair enough. If I feel the need to speak my point of view, then okay. You have a different one? Okay, now what?
Exactly. It really does come down to the old agree to disagree thing. I respect your right to have a different opinion because it's like what we teach all the time. The fact that the person has a different opinion, the fact that the person is voicing a different opinion, neither one of those things is what actually made me angry. The way I choose to react to them having a different opinion and voicing that opinion is what's going to make me angry. So it's me and my thoughts that make me angry, not the fact that they have a difference of opinion. And we're not powerless. We don't have to. Something somebody says might trigger anger in us, but we don't have to respond in an angry way. The only other option I could think of, which might be good advice if you have family members you really can't get along with, is do not host the event at your residence. Because if it's your place, you got to wait for everybody else to leave. If you're at somebody else's place, you can say, hey, especially if you're married, you can be like, hey, we've got something to do on the other side of the family. So I wanted to be here, but I can only be here a certain amount of time. You can't escape from your own residence. So if you feel like just if it's going to be that bad, just make sure you don't host the event. And that way you can leave without having to wait for everybody else to leave.
So basically, and the hard out. So, okay,
Yes.
be here for X amount of time. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm out
You
after
know
30
what? It's weird
minutes.
because when we're yeah, as we talk about this, I think about what we tell the guys when we're doing drug and alcohol treatment when they're in there is if you're going to events like on the holidays and stuff or anything where you think you might be triggered at an event, have somebody that you can call that can come and get you. Don't stay close to the door, whatever, so that if it gets bad, you can get out of there if you get triggered in some way. And I guess the same thing with anger. If you have yourself an out, like you said, it's a hard out, not necessarily something you want to do, but if it's going to be a likely an uncomfortable situation, you might want to leave that option open. And I know if I stay long enough, we're going to have major problems. So let me just try to make it through an hour or an hour and a half or something like that. And then just gauge where I'm at that time. And if I feel like I'm feeling uncomfortable or it's about to escalate or I'm tired of being around this person, then I can say, hey, I stayed at least this long and politely make an exit.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you there. Have that exit plan.
Yeah, it's always good to have a couple of exit plans if you can.
Yeah.
One exit might be blocked, so you need to find another one sometime. Just think ahead would be a good idea.
Yep. Just play that tape forward, think ahead, and go, okay, this might be uncomfortable, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to make an appearance, but probably going to have to ditch out. Nothing wrong with that. The people you need to avoid or not engage, we all have them in our families. Yeah, yeah. I know how this person stands on some things and don't need to get into an arguing match with them. The reason I'm here is for family, and so we have to really be cognizant of that. But yeah, I think hopefully we've given some tips that might help somebody. By the time I get this posted, it might be past Christmas with the editing and whatnot. I might just post it just dirty and just whatever, but hey, that's fine. Might help you in other family get-togethers.
And so I have a question for you, and this is going to be somebody's going to think this is sarcastic or something, but I know you share a similar sense of humor. So when we were talking about gatherings and events and everything, and I thought, you know what? you're planning that exit strategy and you end up being the first person to leave, there's probably going to be somebody else in that room that's going to thank you for being the first person to leave. So my question to you is, have you ever been at an event where you're like, I can't wait till the first person leaves because I just didn't want to be the first person out the door. But once the first person goes, then I can leave.
Yes. Yes. Just waiting, just like looking like, all right, everybody's here, and just waiting for the first person to go.
I knew that's what I wanted to ask.
You know?
I'm sure he probably did, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be first, but I don't mind being second.
Yep. That's when you get kind of the elbow, like, hey, so-and-so left. Hey, let's get the hell out of here.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe be bold, be the first person to leave. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking about this conversation is like, if you're that person that can't handle it anymore and you're just trying not to express any anger and you're the first to leave, somebody there is probably going to thank you for being the first person out the door. And they'll be right behind you more than likely.
That's right. Nothing wrong with that. I was always big, the whole Irish goodbye. Just leave. And it's funny because I never knew that term until a buddy of mine caught me leaving. He's, what are you doing, an Irish goodbye? I'm like, what the hell is that? You're just leaving and not saying anything to anybody? I'm like, I'm just leaving. But I never knew there was a term for it. And he's, yeah. It's an Irish goodbye. Like, you just wander off.
It works really well when there's a bunch of people there. Because a lot of times you can be gone by the time anybody realizes.
Yeah. But that day I was caught. I was like, what? I was like, I'm leaving.
But at
like,
least you learned the term for what you were already doing.
Yeah.
It was You still left though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely left. But I did not know that there was a term for what I've been doing like my entire life. I just kind of wander off. Irish goodbye. I was like, I like it. It's got a name, so therefore I don't feel so bad.
You put a name to my behavior.
Yep. All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up here, and hopefully in the future we'll get some more stuff out there. This is on a whim, Christmas Eve thing, and hopefully in the future we can get some weekly stuff posted, more in depth about anger, stress management. That's what we do. That's our life, unfortunately.
It is.
Yeah, but we're here to help people. We try to explain things, and who knows, maybe.
But we do know it works, though.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think it's some stuff that can help a lot of people. If you're alive these days and you're in public, you can see it. People have no management of any kind of feelings, whether it be anger or stress. It runs a gambit. People are out there just emoting.
Yes.
And they don't care who it falls on, who hears it. And I think that's a sad state of affairs. But we're here to let people know that you have the power. You have the power over yourself, how you act, how you respond, even how you react.
Yes, you can control emotions instead of letting your emotions control you. That is very much the truth.
Yep. All right, so we're going to wrap it up, and hopefully I will edit this in a timely manner where it can get posted where maybe one person can hear it. Who knows?
You got to start somewhere.
That's right. So this is episode numero uno on Christmas Eve. Let's see where it goes. So I thank Mr. Jonathan for answering my questions. He's very knowledgeable, and have a very Merry Christmas all.
Take care.